Hello, my name is Christina Cox, and I wanted to share a little story with you about my life and how I ended up doing work here with the beautiful Raina in my story and journey along this road here. I always knew there was something more. I never really figured out or was on the path to figuring out what was that something more. It lights my soul on fire and it makes me so happy. And I'm so thankful and blessed for beautiful Raina and all of her work. And if you get the opportunity to put yourself first, put all of that, any fear that you have aside, and let her guide you to the place that you need to be guided to, because it's beautiful on the other side. Your soul deserves to be in alignment with who you are. And the feeling of that inside of me, it almost brings tears to my eyes, because you know how grateful you are for what you have, and you know how grateful you are for the gifts that you have in your soul. It's really cool. I wanted to share a little bit about the online program with Raina, and it's something that you look forward. For me, I look forward to it every week. It's a moment in a time where you're able to slow your life down and reflect back on who you are and give yourself time and energy, and all the energy you give to everyone and everything outside, you can kind of stop that and connect to yourself. I learned a huge lesson on sleep. Food is a huge one for me in my life. I've now taken some of the recipes from her and applied them to my life, and if I eat a lot of heavy processed food, I feel that in my body. And I feel, for years I had sinus issues, headaches, acne, extreme tension in my body. And if I go into the path of eating like I used to eat, you can feel all of those symptoms come back. However, when you do a cleanse, and when you cleanse your body, and when I cleansed my body, it literally removed like all of the buildup that I had in my sinuses, all of the inflammation in my fingers. I would remember waking up and my fingers could barely, one day I could barely even bend my finger because it was so swollen. So diet is huge, and being able to go and give yourself those tools and take time to slow your life down. For me, giving so many excuses of, oh, life is busy, I don't have time for that. You do have time for that, and that's the only thing for me. I realized that's the only thing I should have time for, was putting myself first, and then everything else honestly falls into alignment. I know it may sound woo-woo, but it's the truth. It's the truth that when you put yourself first, and fully charging my battery in the morning and meditating and loving myself and layering myself in all this self-love and charging my self-love battery every morning and putting healthy things into my body and getting enough sleep and water, that is so powerful in your life, to where you're able to go through life with almost a completely different set of eyes. You feel better. You're not groggy. You're not irritated because you're eating all this processed chemical-based food. You're living your best life, and you're on the track to living your best life, and you're aware of how that makes you feel. Because when I go back or I fall off the track, which so many of us will in life, that's just reality. When you fall off the track and you come back to yourself, you realize how much mild suffering it was when you were eating terrible, or how much mild suffering it was for me when I wasn't getting enough sleep. We're teaching our children ways to put themselves first, because you know what? My daughter's now watching me put myself first, and she's watching me meditate in the mornings and charge my battery, and she's watching me eat. She told me the other day, Mom, I really love you because you really care what you put in your body, and you care what I put around myself, and you care how happy I feel inside, and that really makes you a really good mommy. And that's precious, when your children can look at you, and it's not just you're getting through the day and you're making it through. It's that they're really sitting back and admiring the changes that you're making, and they're aware enough to see what's coming from it, and they're starting to do it themselves, or they're asking questions of, why don't you eat that cookie, Mommy, or why don't we eat this, or why don't we have all the candy? Or they want to know, they want to grow. They see you, and they see that it's safe, and they see that all the good and the positivity and the happiness that brings in your life, and it's so powerful. And you change the generational cycles. And for me, I'm like, wow, I was the processed food kid, and I'm not passing that down to my daughter anymore. Or, wow, I was the product of a generation of just give yourself and your soul to everybody else. They all deserve it. You don't deserve it. They deserve it. Find it from everybody else. And when you can take that back and you love yourself so much, and you can show your children that you're literally breaking the cycle of something that could be passed down for 10 more generations in your family.